This is the limits of our physical space. This is me, and this is what I can reasonably control. And outside is chaos. It's all the things that I can't control and wish I could, but I can't. And this is a physical balancing tool for me, where I remember that the space in here is what I have control over, and the space outside I don't have to worry about. I want to add to this though, because this is very much a physical balancing tool, and it is becoming clear to me that I also need an emotional balancing tool, and that my emotions are centered in 3 places. There's my heart over here. There's my mind over here. And there's my body over here. And each of these has feelings. Of course, my heart has the most intense feelings, but my body has sensations. My mind has more or less that tower of terror, the escalation, the ability to go all the way up into dissociation and overwhelm based on fear. And I've really tried to start layering in the idea that my body is mainly dealing with anger, whereas my heart is mainly dealing with shame, and my mind is mainly dealing with fear. And I can go further with this. I can correlate some energies that each center tends to express. So my body's anger results in a pushing out of drive energy. And this helps me defend my boundaries. It pushes people away, it pushes obstacles away, it pushes threats away. My heart, on the other hand, is a mirror. And so shame is a reflexive, recursive, looking at my image in the mirror and seeing what it tells me. And so shame is a draw energy. It pulls inward. My heart is looking for content. It's looking for love. It's looking for acceptance. It's looking for a sensation of being seen. And the temptation is to look in the mirror and only see myself, not realize that there are other people out here. There's not just me. So the draw energy really wants to come back inwards, and it can very much attract people, but it's important that I know what to do with it. Then over here, the fear has the option, and this is a great option, of soaking. Soaking is a pause. It's a stillness between drive and draw. And it allows for me to sense in, to throw my senses out and check the perimeter of my physical environment. It allows me to check inwards in my body. It allows me to look at the past and also throw my mind into the future based on patterns that I have noticed. So fear is very much standing still and assessing for threat. That is the gift of fear. Now, I want to use this as a way to balance these strong emotions, and I want to use a real life anecdote that just happened. So I went running yesterday with Kyrie. Here is Kyrie. And we went for a nice run in the forest, and about a kilometer in, she scampered off into the forest and did not come when called. And this is an example of Kyrie being herself and not being controlled by me. She was doing her own choice, not mine. And I had feelings about this. So the first one that I was aware of was fear. I was afraid for her safety, and because I have quite a blind spot to shame, I didn't right away notice that might have been contributing to the fear. I was also aware of anger. I was angry at her for not doing what I wanted, and that anger threatened to rise up, and my fear felt like it justified the anger, but the anger was tipping. So it's helpful for me to think of these teeter-totters and to realize that when I feel my anger, I often tend to be tipped over into the self-righteous indignation. Let's put it that way. And that can become even more intense. I can get quite furious with animals and with people who are not doing what I want. And the reason that this is so tippy for me, I believe now, is unfortunately this shame over here. My shame, which is, solidly in a blind spot, is all about me. And so I stopped and I looked at the space that I had in this triangle here. And the space here is where I get to choose. This is where I am not yet tipping into any of these teeter-totters. So my fear and my unbalanced shame, which is very much invisible, and my anger. And so I chose to spend some time soaking. I really relied on this soaking, and I thought, I'm going to just check out the level of my fear, and I'm going to actually use it to assess for threats rationally with my mind. And so I used my fear sense, and I tried to balance the teeter-totter by looking backwards and forwards. So backwards, I remembered how much training I've given Kyrie. I remembered that she knows how to get home. I remembered that she is a dog of very little brain, and when she's very happy, she tends to lose focus. I remembered that she can easily get lost, and that there are lots of new life. It's spring, and this is only the second run I've taken her on. I remembered that she is used to me walking, not running, and so would have maybe calculated that she could find me again, and I would have moved further than she calculated. So all of that became obvious when I balanced my fear and let it inform how I was thinking. And so I started thinking again. And looking forward to patterns, I also was pretty sure she would come home. And so that's likely what she had done. She had figured out she couldn't find me, and she probably went home. And I realized that I was going to anger about that based on a sense of loss of control, not really fear for her safety, because in thinking it through, there was not really a high risk. So I started to feel like my anger might be unbalanced and it might be a little bit self-righteous. And where was that coming from? And that is what triggered me to look in my blind spot. So when I moved over to shame and looked at how I was feeling in my heart, I could see quite clearly that I was embarrassed. I was embarrassed that my dog left me. It made me feel like a not good enough dog owner or dog trainer, and also that she probably preferred, she doesn't like me enough. Things like that. This is a shame spiral. This is ridiculous. When I look at it, I can go, that's all about me. I am thinking about me as if I am the only one that matters in this relationship. And that really gave me a chance to come back to the center and think about my values and think about what is really going on here, which is that Kyrie is being herself outside of my control. The risks are low to her. I am angry that she didn't do what I wanted her to, but it's not actually reasonable to expect that she is completely under my control when she's off leash. And because I've done the training, I can be pretty sure that she'll have come home and be safe. So my anger in terms of trying to protect her is not justified. It's more likely coming from my shame, which is a blind spot, which is simply me thinking that her actions reflect on me. And they don't. Her actions reflect on her. My actions reflect on me. And really, what I want here is a good relationship with Kyrie. And I want to not harm that relationship by using my anger to drive her away. I don't also want to just reward her, but in thinking about the risks of what just happened, what I thought, once I could soak for a while and not draw, not drive, but just think about the rational dangers and what we could do, what I want is if she gets lost for her to come home. So I thought to myself, if I come home from my run and Kyrie is there waiting for me, I can reward her because that means she knows what to do when she gets lost and separated from me. And that's exactly what I want to reward. And the anger that I feel is unbalanced and unnecessary. The shame that I feel is unbalanced and unnecessary. The fear that I feel is actually out of proportion and unnecessary. So fortunately, this took me a while. Fortunately, I had a long run. I could have just enjoyed the run. And I did enjoy the run because my fear went down and my anger went down and my shame went down. But it was very apparent to me that I spent quite a bit of time pinballing between these three feelings. And it was also apparent to me that just having words for what was going on in terms of what was rising up and was uncomfortable and what I was especially trying to avoid being aware of really helped with balancing. And so, in fact, I came home. Kyrie was waiting anxiously on the driveway, looking for me, and a little bit worried about what I would do. And I was able to very congruently and happily and clearly choose to welcome her towards me and to enjoy repairing the relationship, which is a good relationship, and I want to keep it as a good relationship. And you know what? The thing that she did that I didn't want her to do was not as big a threat as I thought it was. So I am still working on this tool, but that's where I am in terms of the emotional balancing options that we might have. These tipping teeter-totters, to have a name for them and to be aware of their presence, and then to make sure that all three are in your awareness is a start. So hopefully that helps you, and I'll include the little videos of our reconnection.